let's talk about antinatalism. Antinatalism is the idea that humanity should go extinct and that the pain we experience in life outweighs any of the potential pleasure that we may experience. And because of that, we should just go extinct. Humanity was an unfortunate mistake that shouldn't happen. Now, I think this is a pretty interesting argument. It's also stupid. So the issue with disproving antinatalism is the fact that it is a genuinely pretty well-built argument. It's kind of a huge issue. Is that it operates in sort of this graph. So we're just going to ignore it. Now, is that cheating? No. Because I'm going to approach it from the word argument that it puts forward, that pain outweighs pleasure. And I'm going to approach it from the angle of my camera. I know that's a pretty weird angle to take, that somehow a Polaroid camera from the 1970s proves that humanity shouldn't go extinct. But I think it works. I think it does. So the idea is that we do not have enough pleasure in our lives to outweigh pain. And I don't think that's true, because I think this camera proves that we have pleasure in our lives. Because if we didn't, I wouldn't have a photo album of precious memories sitting right next to me of all of the joys I've experienced in my life. And I don't think I would be willing to take those pictures and keep those pictures if they really didn't outweigh the pains of life. I wouldn't be buying the film. I wouldn't be going out and I wouldn't be taking these pictures because there wouldn't be enough joy to outweigh the pain. I think these pictures also operate as more than just an example of joy for myself. I think that one day, as people do, you kick the bucket. And those pictures will get passed along. And that album will probably represent just as much to someone else as it does to someone later on in my family. That there is a physical marker of joy. It's physical evidence that at one time in this world, someone experienced joy and happiness. And that it disproves the idea that there's so much pain, that even if their life is just pain, it's evidence that they themselves can also experience joy just as much as whoever took those pictures and whoever is in those pictures. It's a physical, real marker of joy and happiness in the world. I think without that camera, without the pictures it has, I don't really have as much of a physical memory and evidence that I have experienced happiness and joy in my life. And I think that's really what makes that camera special, and what really kind of, to me, makes that antinatalist argument seem a lot dumber, is that, sure, there's pain, but here's a real, tangible, existing example of pleasure in my life that I can look at myself and see that I've experienced joy, or that other people anytime in the future or the present can look at and see that there's joy that they can experience in their lives because someone else did too. Transhumanism is the idea that our current human forms is pretty weak, and that we should really move into the tech world of the future. Think the metaverse. This is an idea that's pretty popular by billionaires. The idea that we would be better off uploading our brains into computers and surviving in the cloud. Whatever that means. Now, this is something I disagree with on a pretty basic level, and I think an SX-70 is ample proof that it's a bad idea. And I have a couple of reasons why. While the camera is bulky, and it's inconvenient, and it's large, and it's annoying, and it's something extra I have to haul around instead of using my phone, which probably takes better quality pictures, it gives you an experience you just can't get in the digital world, or with something digital like a phone. You don't really it doesn't spark any joy for yourself flipping through a digital picture album, scrolling through the Apple Photos app. But flipping through a real physical photo album, seeing a tangible example of a real memory that you can hold in your hand is very, very, very different. And there's something that's very special about a tangible physical experience, like pressing a camera shutter and hearing the mirror click and the shutter fire. That's just something you can't really get in a digital form in the slightest. And I think that inconvenience, the bulk, it's part of the human experience. That effort and the work you have to put in to just doing something as simple as taking a picture is very human. I think we need a pushback. I think we need force, and I think we need something that makes us try, or else we'll simply give up on trying. I think another idea that a lot of transhumanists push forward is that even if we were to augment ourselves with some form of digital technology where we could have like a memory bank that's recording everything at all times, and all of our lives are sort of digitally cataloged so we can revisit and experience our memories again, especially if we were all existing in some form of digital metaverse, that we could just have it, have everything right there. So what is the difference between something like a full 360-degree VR perfect recreation of an experience or memory in our lives as compared to one grainy, kind of a hassle physical photograph taken on a Polaroid camera? I think the difference is that video isn't an interpretation of your memories. It isn't some memory. It literally isn't a memory. It's not you trying to remember it through your lens at the time. It is a perfect recreation of what you're seeing now, which is very separate from our memories. When we're making memories, we are looking through whatever lens we see the world at that time. We are seeing the world of how we see it at age 16 or age 40. We have a lens. We have a way that we perceive things, that we create the memories. We are going to think of the people differently depending on our age, depending on where we're at. We're going to say and experience different things, and we're going to remember that experience differently based on who we were at the time. And you're going to keep that memory with you based on who you were. And I think that's part of the human experience. I think that there is no real way to grow and to change as a person if we're not making memories, because those memories change who we are. They change our perception and view of the world to ourselves. And if we were to have something like a full 360 perfect video, that would mean that we don't really have any real memories. We can remember and look at anything at any time, and we're going to perceive that event through our current lens. We're not going to see it as we did then. We're not going to make that memory as we did then. We're going to always be able to see what the truth of the experience was, the truth of what we said, what we did, the people around us, in the world. And I don't think that's healthy. I think what makes us grow and change as people is that we're always perceiving things differently. And I think if we were able to take all of our memories and perceive them in one way through our current self, we would never change. But I think the issue is, and why a lot of people would want something like that, is that human memories are very, very fickle. We forget things very easy. We forget what was going on at the time. And I think we do need a way to remember things, which is why cameras exist. And I don't think there's really a better way to remember something than having a bit of a framework, a snapshot of an exact moment in time, because we're not going to remember what was going on around it. We're not going to really have our memories of what we were thinking, what we were saying, but that photo can provide a bit of a foundation to try and create your memories around. I think it provides just enough detail to allow you to remember something, but not enough that it's painting the picture for you. And I think that's why something like the Polaroid SX-70 is so human, and why it is evidence against both antinatalism and transhumanism, is that it's a tool that allows us to remember brief snapshots of memories of joy, of sadness, of some event in our lives that was important to us, and gives us a foundation we can build those memories around for the rest of our lives, and leaves a memory we can pass upon to other people, to our next generation or something. I think, as I've put forward throughout this video, that difficulty and hassle is sort of a part of the human experience. I think a big reason about why we're alive and why we're human is that we need to face challenges and we need to face difficulties every day in our lives. And I think that Polaroid camera, that SX-70, is an example to me of humanity. That it's something that's difficult and that's kind of annoying, that you have to get film and you have to wait for it to develop and you have to go through the effort of focusing and taking the picture. But I think that's life. I think life is the challenges we have to face every day. And I think those challenges, that they make us more human. That we need the difficulty to keep us going. And that the difficulty and the hassle of everything in our daily lives And those little bits of pleasure, those little pictures we have of our precious memories is all part of this grand experience, is what makes us human and makes us grow and learn and continue existing. And I think if we take away the difficulty, we're nothing. And without those little bits of joy, we're nothing. I think we really need the difficulty, and I think we need the Polaroid, and I think we need the hassles, and we stay human, and we keep living and we keep thriving, even if it's difficult, even if it's a hassle, because I think it proves that it's worth it.